Again, keep in mind, folks, these streams are not 100% synced. It is all best effort. So right now, if I had to guess based on what I've seen, there's been no major mistakes from both. It's just going to come down to just minor optimizations for what it's worth, but I haven't seen any major mistakes on either side. So they're probably pretty even at this point coming into 3-1.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the things too, like you said, those little optimizations. And one of the things that's so very, very underrated in Ninja Gaiden is Ryu likes to stick to things, whether it's walls, ladders, the floor, and a lot of the top runners and a lot of the speed you can get in Ninja Gaiden is to save a frame or two touching those walls and getting them off or getting off of them pretty quickly. So it's one of the things Retro Runner's very, very known for. Very, very close to frame perfect on the flip flops and the bounces.
So a couple things here really quick. We saw the differences in how 3-1's tackle Lick Arcade using the fire wheel to kill those enemies, whereas Retro Runner opts to go with what he's coming with the sword. And there was a question in the chat: how many wild card picks are going into the top 8? So we got 5 groups, folks. The winners of each group are guaranteed a slot for the 5. So we have 3 wild card selections, and the way that works is whoever has the highest points, that was not a winner, moves on from there. And if we have a tie, we use the average time that's recorded as the tiebreaker from there. So that's where it is. So to answer your question, 3 wild card. And Lick Arcade and Retro Runner both getting the regular standard kill, as Tiara would say. And Vigo as well going in here, getting in his damage. SSR at Bassiker. You love to see it.
Yep, absolutely. Basker is one of those bosses that, everybody calls it the standard kill. And that's, the most inappropriate name, I think, in the whole game, as there's nothing standard about it. It's very, very tight windows. And if you can't do it, or if you get a bad global timer with some bullets, you see some slowdown, and it's a low key thing. Most bosses in Ninja Gaiden, not a huge issue, but Basker's the one that can really cause people some time loss.
So even though the streams are delayed here, I'm going to say that it's very admirable that Lick is keeping pace with Retro Runner here across the board. But I think Retro Runner had a slight delay on his start coming in, so honestly, I think he's slightly ahead, or maybe by a few seconds. But overall, this is looking pretty good for these two neck and neck.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can hang with the Retro Runner, you're in for a good run and a good race. And one of the things too is, even with that stream delay and Retro Runner being a little bit ahead, he's only 1 knockback from pushing ahead of him. So, both racers, it's a question of they can't make Ryu move any faster forward. You're holding right. It's a question of who's going to blink first, who maybe makes the first mistake, and we'll see.
And it is like a synchronized dance that we have here with Lick and TRR basically going together using the similar strats as they go. Retro Runner had a little bit crisper climbs on that ladder coming into the top of 4-2. Oh, unfortunately, Lick missing that jump there. That's a pretty tight jump. So Retro Runner definitely pulling ahead there and lengthening his stride.
Yep, and one of the things I always joke is you can set your watch to the Retro Runner's quick climbs, and he knows in a bunch of little places where he can fit in one quick climb and still hit the ladder exit pretty perfectly. He's always just been phenomenal about that, and it lets him, each quick climb's giving him about 1/10 of a second, and over the course of the run can give him 5 or 6 seconds over someone that's not climbing.
And there it is, Kelberos going down for both of them at this side. A very exciting moment coming into stage 5 for both of these runners. And it's when you play Ninja Gaiden at this high of a level, the exact count of quick climbs that you can get in on each and every wall and ladder, which is really insane to think about, that they have it down to that point where you can just count out how many climbs you need, and based on the positioning, like you said, knowing where you can fit in that 1 or 2 extra to save every ounce of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see SSR not too far behind. Vigo also not too far behind. The SSR gets the manip to save him a little bit of time. And he's done a great job of battling back on the same screen as the 2 guys up in the lead. Or Vigo right behind him, not too far, using the spin slash for Kelberos. We're moving.
So look at this. Now, Retro Runner must have taken a death of some sort, because I looked away for just a single moment. Had to start 5-1. Lick Arcade in 5-2. Look at this. And now we have SSR potentially in front of the Retro Runner after that. So Retro Runner taking a death, that's going to really hurt. I think probably he had a death on that final pit of 5-1. That's a big, big time loss. Lick Arcade out in front.
Yep, super tough. And like you said, it's not necessarily always about going fast. Sometimes it's more about making fewer mistakes. As chat points out, Ninja Gaiden's being Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, Celeste throwing that one out there. And again, not to call back to my predictions here, but I said that Retro would not win every single race. So it's possible this will happen, but he's gonna battle back stronger. But we'll see. Anything can happen in stage 5 and stage 6. 5-3 on Lick Arcade's side. But looking really good. Pretty crazy to think SSR coming here and opting to do a slightly modified lemon drop on that one. Vigo trying to work his way through 5-1 and into 5-2.
Yep, SSR missing the bird boost at the end. The one perfect Finn calls Janet. When the Retro Runner gets it, saves the Retro Runner some seconds and starts getting him caught up. While SSR, has to wait for the bird to pass, has to wait for the bat to pass, so he doesn't give up too much health coming in. And as you see, Lick still cruising. Just got to make sure he plays mistake free and goes in with enough of a lead that he can finish out the bosses before the Retro Runner with his plate kills and rich kills can.
So Lick is no slouch. He can plate kill as well. I mean, again, that major mash coming into play there. I will say that Lick did have some difficulty with the SP boost and had to wait for a little bit for the parade of soldiers to go by before he could spawn another one to actually take that boost. So Retro Runner did gain some time on that one.
Yep, you can see Lick already in the 6-1, Retro Runner a couple screens behind, SSR into mouth right now, but still everyone very, very close. Vigo only a couple of screens behind too. And it's very much the kind of race where if you get a bad death on one of those screens that cost you 30, 40 seconds, it's not a question of going back 1 or 2 places. You would go straight to the bottom of the pack right now.
Agreed. And now, again, I will say this before, I've said it again, that Vigo is actually hitting above his weight class, I think, trying to keep pace with some pretty crazy people here. Getting bullied a little bit by that, but opting to go for the upper boost there. You don't see that one often, but that he knows how to do that from his pacifist and low percent understanding, and having that depth of strategy and being able to fall back on stuff like that when things are not working well is really to his benefit.
Yep, absolutely. And it's a very much pacifist strategy. It costs him a little bit of time, but for the safety and the consistency of it, he doesn't have to worry about those gaps, doesn't have to worry about the cheetah knockback or the pit. It's just a smart pacifist play by Vigo. Make sure he stays in the race and stays in and running.
Well, Retro Runner slipping slightly there, catching up to SSR, by the way. Whereas Lick Arcade is blazing ahead into 6-2, will be in 6-3 momentarily. Going to take the Gremlin boost here at the very end, waiting for that Gremlin to hop up and passing across the pit.
Yep, and the question is, Retro Runner, knowing he took a death, will he be silly enough to try Eggs Benny? I think there's no way, but you never know.
He kills it, so he's going to wait, slash, and go.
Yeah, the safe, smart strat, that half a second is definitely not worth the risk.
So Retro Runner actually should be slightly ahead of SSR now. He's rallied back even after that costly death, which is pretty insane. And he's cruising. He's going to get there. And Lick Arcade, though, still comfortably out in the lead from what it looks like.
Yep, but Lick Arcade, low health. He's 1 hit away from death. He has to make sure he stays alive, and definitely taking the safety health. Very smart play.
That's a nice strat there. Very nice. Grabbing the and losing minimal time, too, was a nice grab. And here we go into the final 3.
Absolutely. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, if you're SSR, if you're Lick Arcade, if you're the Retro Runner, do you cut the tail or do you not? And this is the kind of game time decision. If you know where you're at, you know you've taken a death, or you know you're ahead, what do you do and how do you handle it?
Okay, so SSR, Retro Runner very close together. Lick going with the right side kill on this one. Look at that mash.
Oh, it's insanely wild mash, insanely fast. SSR with the safer left side kill, the traditional kill, while Retro Runner got the plate.
Getting a plate.
Huge. Puts him right back in here. We'll see if he can get the Rich to catch up to Lick.
And we'll keep an eye on the official times here. Lick not killing the tail, opting go for the mash, getting a nice kill there. Well done. Let's see what Retro Runner does. He's going to kill the tail.
Yep, looked like he had the one jump in, got a bad shrimp pattern. We've had just awful shrimp the entire night for a lot of these racers. And, opting to take the safe route.
And there's your 3 jump heart. So if I'm going to be correct here, it's going to be Lick probably in first, Retro Runner in second, SSR in third. Let me take a look and see what we have on Race Time GG.
Yep.
So from what I'm seeing in the room here, Lick Arcade finishes with a time of 12:17, a nice improvement there. Well done. He's saying 12:15 he was done with. Retro Runner with a 12:25, so we got two Sub Ninja license. SSR with a 12:34. Lick Arcade is going to be your winner here in race 2.
Absolutely an incredible run, very close times. And to your point, Ninja licenses right around them, fantastic runs. And this is with, keep in mind, deaths from some of these racers.
Okay, we have the officials saying 12:15 for Lick, 12:25 for TRR, and 12:33 for SSR. So that is confirmed. There is your podium, folks. Lick Arcade taking the win in race 2 over TRR. He's got to feel real good about that. So get this, with them trading spaces like that, TRR and Lick are going to be tied going into race 3.
Absolutely, and it's going to be another situation. We'll see how the points shake out, but for sure they'll be racing, for the group arguably, and we'll see how the math works out if SSR has a shot to steal it as well.
So how about it? So as we're wrapping up here, and Seamless has got to do some stuff here on the back end, and as we're doing the tracking, we'll let the racers finish up. We have our podium, which is just absolutely fantastic. What a great run. We're going to be finishing out the last 2 here and moving on to the final race of this one. Okay. This is absolutely incredible, folks. So I will leave it to you, chats. At this point, we now are going to have a tie game going into the third. Retro Runner versus Lick Arcade. Who is coming out on top for Group B? Let's hear it. And Vigo the Carpathian finishing out with a nice time here of 14:26. And Blind Dusty's still going from what it looks like here. So an astute observation, Retro Runner was 10 seconds behind with a death. And a very costly one too, because it was actually at the end of 5-1, no less. Well done, Vigo, taking 4th position. Blind Dusty will be 5th, rounding this out, no less. And that is absolutely incredible. Let's just have a 23-way tie. Well, unfortunately, that's not how Ninja Gaiden works. Retro Runner going back to the lab, trying to make sure he's got that plate kill dialed in. He was the first one to get the plate today, and I'm sure that none of us are surprised by that. The elusive sub 12 still hanging out there, but we've had some sub Ninja license times overall. And here are your final times here, folks. Lick Arcade with a 12:15 to Retro Runner's 12:25, SSR 12:33, Vigo the Carpathian with a 14:25, and Blind Dusty taking the DNF for a 15. Well, actually, no, it was not a DNF. It was the race time GG time was a 15:23, but 15 being the cap for the average. That's where we stand. Moving on to the next one here, we got one more left to go here in the Bomberhead Group B. Retro Runner and Lick Arcade standing atop the group, 7 points apiece, swapping first and second position. SSR in third with 4 points. Vigo and Blind Dusty with 1 point. So at this point, it's Retro Runner and Lick Arcade, the 2 to watch for this one, coming into the final round. It's going to be really exciting, folks. All right, hang tight here. We're getting the race ready to go. The race room all taken care of here on the back end. Seamless Link taking care of stuff behind the scenes. A big thank you to him for the assistance. The man is in the commentary booth as well as running the show behind the scenes here. We've also got Fabricator General working on the race time GG side of things. We've got the admins out there, Ultra Minimalist, Black Squall doing their thing, verifying the times are correct if Racetime GG has some issues overall. So just glad to have everyone's assistance here behind the scenes. And nonetheless, it's a great night. And thank you everyone for coming out again. I know I've said this a couple of times before, but really do appreciate all the love and support from the Ninja Gaiden community and beyond to make this what it is today. So the question is, who will be joining Edo atop their own group and solidifying a position in the top 8 next week? Lick Arcade and Retro Runner right now tied up and have a shot.
All right, looks like we are set for our last race. We've got our 4 contestants up. Let's double check with Fab, the race admin, and get everybody up and running as soon as they are ready.
Okay, race room is currently up. Looks like we have 4 folks. We're just waiting for Vigo to get on in, it looks like.
Yeah, looks like we are at the 60-second countdown to prep all the racers so they can get ready.
Oh, Vigo says he has got dad percent, so he will not be in on this one. So family comes first, as always. So this is just going to be a 4-man run on this one. So Vigo will be taking a 5th position, but the man did get a point. The pacifist low percent master and Fabricator pulling himself out here. We have 15 seconds to go. The countdown has begun. And we'll be away to go, folks, with the final race of Group B. Once again, going to be decided a tie atop what we have here. Good luck to everybody. Here we go. And the green flag drops. Let's see what we got. Pretty even across the board. Retro Runner a little bit behind on the stream delay here from what we're seeing. But this is it. It all comes down to this to decide the fate. So Retro Runner and Lick Arcade, once again, trying to vie for that 9-point position, possibly maybe even be able to get 10. So let's say Retro Runner and Lick Arcade get 1st and 2nd together. Lick Arcade would possibly get 10 points, which is an extremely high score overall, considering the highest you can possibly get is 12. Almost guaranteeing a wild card position with that score, but we'll see how things shake out in the other groups, of course. But Retro Runner looking to come back here. Whoever wins between the 2 of them will be moving on, but we'll see how things happen with our 4 competitors here on the board. You'll have everyone on your view here. SSR, Blind Dusty, Lick Arcade, Retro Runner all coming into 2-1. Seamless, who you got? What are you thinking for this one?
Oh, it's a tough one. It's back and forth again. I think, as always, as consistent as the Retro Runner is, you have to see his ability to battle back even when taking a death, still putting up good times. If he stays deathless, you have to root for him, don't you?
I mean, he's definitely the odds-on favorite with a huge gap in his PB versus what Lick Arcade has. However, we're looking at safety strats, not PB strats here, which we've seen him take. He's not going for double bird boost. He's taking a very safe cliff overall. But again, it just a missed input, a small issue, a tiny lapse in concentration or stress, and we've seen runners just fall apart as everyone's coming into 2-1. Or 2-2 rather, sorry.
Exactly. And one of the things too is, part of the race strategy and some of the thoughts is if you come in with 2 first places into your 3rd race, maybe it gets a little bit easier for you. Maybe you have a shot at taking your foot off the gas a little bit. But as you can see, with nobody yet so far getting first in the first 2 races, everyone's got to work through all 3 of them to really put up their points. SSR you know, even though had a couple of third places, still isn't mathematically eliminated. A first place here puts him at 8 points, and still with a 2 race average time of 12:41, he's still in the wild card hunt for sure if he can pull out a win here.
Agreed. And right you are there, Link, as we're coming into Bomberhead here for pretty much everybody getting to the door. You love to see it. Everybody got spin slash to dice them up. Oddly enough, here we haven't seen it, but you actually can kill the chain of Bomberhead if you're not placing your spin slashes properly there, and you hate to see that when that happens. But we're moving into 3-1 here, folks. Everybody pretty much even Steven across the board.
Yep, agreed. And like we mentioned before, keep your eye out for the Retro Runner using this sword on the guy up top, while Lick Arcade's going to use the fire wheel, and we'll see the differences in those runners and how they handle it coming up right here.
And here we go, getting up here, very good. Going bouncy, bouncy. As we come into 3-2, this is a pivotal screen. We saw some pretty costly deaths here, and it's a scary moment coming into the end. Even if you take it safe, it's still a scary moment.
Absolutely. There's if you've learned anything about Ninja Gaiden from playing Ninja Gaiden, what you find is there's never a time in which you can relax. I think even when the bosses are counting down at death, you still got to keep yourself ready, and just in case. It's you know, there's never a good time to really kick back and enjoy and de-stress until you're at the end.
Speaking about it, here we go for the big jumps.
Woo, okay.
Everybody is through. Yes, congratulations, everyone making it through to Massacre. Let's go.
Yep, and then we'll see again the differences in how people approach it. And you can see the Retro Runner and SSR with super fast kills, while Lick and Dusty missing a little bit, getting some bad bullets and are a little behind, but still in there.
I don't know if it's his controller.
So based on the Retro Runner having the longest delay here, I believe he is currently out in front between this group of 4.
Yep, absolutely. I think secretly the Retro Runner is intentionally delaying a little bit just to add some drama.
That was scary.
You know, start from behind and try and pull ahead by the end.
Speaking of drama, unfortunately, Lick Arcade getting an unfortunate hammer there, or possibly getting a cottage cheese sword, where the sword just kind of phases through that hammer brother, getting pushed back, which then causes a bird to show up, no less, and just making things so much worse. But right now, Retro Runner and SSR looking about even.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a handful of places like that you'll see in the game. You know, the same as that cannon at the end of 4-3 to keep an eye out for, where you know it's there, you know it's a hassle, and no matter what you do, sometimes you're just gonna get trolled.
I'll kill you.
It almost looks like Retro Runner and SSR getting the same exact pattern there, the way that the Hammer Brother was walking, and we're up on the bridge, jump over the bird, jump and slash, and now we're going to charge up the view.
Absolutely, and anybody that thinks that Ninja Gaiden is the musical game hasn't played it. It's the commands, the jumps, when you do things, when you slash, all line up with the song, and it's literally how you can learn the game, is just singing along to some of those stages.
And here we go into 4-3 rather, and SSR and Retro Runner also getting those tight jumps. Lick Arcade had a problem with this earlier, but getting it this time around, and Blind Dusty not too far behind, also coming into 4-3 as well.
Yeah, all runners staying close, and again, it's another situation. Remember, they're all playing for points. They're playing for their place and their finishes just as much as their time. And really, again, it's a situation where one bad death or one takeaway sends you from first to worst. So it's definitely something you got to stay safe and stay consistent as best as you can.
For me too.
So Retro Runner, SSR, Lick Arcade, all pretty close at this point. Retro Runner, SSR in a dead heat coming into stage 5.
Don't be 5.
Absolutely. Lick Arcade not too far behind, and then we'll see how Act 5 shakes out for him.
Oh, SSR having some difficulties there. Retro Runner getting them in it as well as Lick Arcade, but getting a hug from the Pickle Ninja in the process there. So Lick back in this now in the hunt for second position. Yeah, with SSR having some problems there. Retro Runner charging ahead, very much in the lead now, especially when you consider that stream delay that we had from him starting up. He was the furthest behind. Getting a nice bird, not an early bird of scum. And wraps up 5-1 this time around. Very good, coming into 5-2.
All right, Bird, you want to play?
Absolutely. You can see SSR opting for the single bird boost, and the
Oh my
question
God, I
is
got
whether
hit.
or
Okay, our
not
health is bad. Our health is bad.
he
That's not
chose to
good.
do that for health reasons because he took some
Our
hits,
health is
or just
really
playing
bad.
safe. But Act 5, one of those acts where health maintenance and keeping an eye on your health can be just as important as hitting all the boosts.
Agreed. So there also is here, there is some medicine you can pick up right where Blind Dusty was there, the candle to the left. You can throw a star and actually grab that as a safety strat. So if you do get knocked around a little bit, you can grab that on the way and not really waste a little bit of time. Got to sacrifice 5 input for it, but definitely kind of worth it for that safety strat. And Retro Runner wrapping up with the bird boost, coming into 5-3 on a hell of a pace.
Absolutely. You can see SSR, who did the lemon drop before, missed the lemon drop this time, cost him a little bit of time, but does hit the boost.
What a stupid
While
fucking death.
Lick, unfortunately, takes a death.
Lick Arcade taking a death there at the end of that screen, losing Spin Slash in the process, going to slow him down throughout 5-3. Retro Runner
What a stupid
out in
death that
front.
was.
in the driver's seat once again, has a chance to take this group, but has to charge forward. SSR hot on his trail, however, do not count him out.
Absolutely, and switching to low percent strategies, especially in 5-3, is extremely difficult. Those jetpack ninjas, no problem with Spin Slash. Without them, super, super tough.
Okay, Lick Arcade having to adapt now. This is where some strats from low percent and knowing what to do here. This is a difficult moment. We saw Vigo go with the alternate. This gunner can be very difficult if you don't know what to do in the process here. Lick kind of struggling to figure out where to go with it, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
And Retro taking care of Malth into stage 6. Let's go.
For sure. And we can see is, you know, as he's moving through, he's only a couple screens behind, should be able to get moving and keep going. You can see.
I didn't know what to do there. I tried to get close enough.
Lick, even in the background, you can hear him. Not quite sure, thinking out loud, but making it through. And you can see, you know, Dusty pulling ahead a little bit too of Lick as well, and having Spin Slash to make that fight go faster.
Now here's some food for thought here, Link. Let's say the Retro Runner does wrap this up and he wins the group. Let's say SSR, who's very much in the position to get second position here, does do that. And Lick gets third. Lick will get 2 points. He will be tied with Lane Rayner from Group A for a wild card position. And did he just take a death to Malth? Did that just happen?
Oh no. Super tough, especially if you get bounced around the wrong way. It can happen. It's extremely tough hit by Lick.
Oh my God, this is, he's got to be really feeling that. What I was about to say, if he could wrap it up and not die to the bosses at the very, very end, his average time would have probably edged out Lane Rayner, possibly. But it seems like that's going to hurt. We're going to see how things kind of go up. But if he can get third, he will tie Lane Rayner for those points. Retro Runner having some difficulty with that exit boost from 6-2 into 6-3, as we see SSR there. So right now you have SSR looking for second position. Retro Runner going to be coming into this last section of 6-3 in the home stretch. Lick Arcade climbing back up 5-3, where we have Blind Dusty going into Hell Hallway in 6-2.
Yep, and one thing to keep in mind too is that, as we've seen, it's not over till it's over. Any one of these racers, especially the ones that are a little bit far out there, as bad as Lick's deaths may have been to Malth, it's still not as bad as dying to Jackie or dying to the Demon.
Correct. All you have to worry about is 5-3 versus going through 6-1 from 6-1 in its entirety to the end. But I will say Lane Rayner did really recover extremely well from that and had a hell of a run up to that point too. Here we go. Retro Runner coming into the last 3. Gonna shred down the clown nose. He's got to mash it out. I guess he didn't notice he actually didn't grab the Nimpo or didn't have enough there in the process, but it's again very consistent mash. We'll see if he goes for the plate kill as SSR buzzsaws down the clown nose.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, that upward slash that you need to do. Everyone makes it look easy, but it's very hard, and you can miss that 5-po, and it costs you time anytime you have to mash.
Like, you want to illustrate.
Okay, SSR taking the left-hand strat where we saw Retro Runner was 1 slash away from the plate kill. Here he comes into the Demon. Can he close it out and claim Group B?
Retro
Not killing
Runner.
the tail.
No, tried for the rich kill. Whether he knew he was ahead or trying to showboat, but a fantastic demon kill.
I think this could be a sub 12, buddy, and Retro Runner is going to be finishing this one out, winning Group B and moving on to top 8.
Absolutely Race Admins confirmed first sub 12 and 11:56.
What a time. Congratulations, SSR, wrapping up with a race time GG time of 12:14.
Oh, wow. Yeah, SSR with another great time right behind him. Fantastic performances by these runners, for sure. We're seeing, it looks like Blind Dusty going into the Demon. He'll be the next to wrap up.
Now,
And Lick really has to hope that maybe he gets some bad luck on the Demon if he's going to try and get enough points to try and get into the wild card.
Yes, that's true, because if Blind Dusty can pull this one out here,
it can go to somebody who has a better.
That's gonna edge out Lick from being in that hunt.
I may have screwed myself out of wild card as well.
And getting bullied, but does kill the Demon. Blind Dusty's gonna be getting 3rd position on this. Lick Arcade taking the 4th. Will unfortunately only have 8 points to Lane Raider's 9. That may cost him a wild card position in the process, unfortunately. But Retro Runner confirmed to be your victor here for Group B.
Absolutely fantastic 3rd race. Awesome stuff by the racers. Super exciting. And it's been absolutely wild.
Well, very good. Well, Seamless Link, that wraps up our tenure together. I believe you're going to go do some back-end stuff here and get us prepped for the next heats. What do you think? How was it, sir? Did you enjoy your time here in the booth?
Oh my God, absolutely yes. It's been a ton of fun. It's always fun to cast the races. And I always joke, it's more fun to be in the broadcast booth than to be in the race. I don't envy the racers and all the stress they have to go through.
Agreed. Looks like Lick Arcade unfortunately taking a death on the last screen of 6-3, getting a game over, having to repeat this one, but trying to finish things out as quick as he can, doing the right-hand climb to get up there. But Seamless Link, it was truly a pleasure to commentate alongside you here, and we're gonna be going into Group C. Who will be joining me for Group C, by the way? Who will be coming up with me?
We got to take a look. I know Perfect Finn is potentially getting on at some point. If not, you might be stuck with me again for at least the next couple.
I was just about to dismiss you because I thought we were going to have a rotating show in this one, but Link, I would gladly share the booth with you once again for this one, and we'll talk about it possibly here soon for the next group. Group C, by the way, the closest and lowest average time across the board. So I'm very excited to see how this one's going to turn out, and we have some real killers in that group. Very excited to see how it's happening here, but. Again, my predictions holding true. Retro Runner did take this. Unfortunately, Lick Arcade not getting 2nd position, so my predictions are going to fall flat here for this one, unfortunately.
15 minutes!
Yep, that's... Lick finishes it out. We'll give him the maximum of 15 as he finishes it out, and I'll get to work on that score screen and see if we can't get some averages for you guys so we can go and... get a scores and averages and get them up there before we cut to our break between groups. So I will be back.
Good. Well, thank you, Link, for all you're doing. Take your time with that one here. Again, guys, thank you so much for being around. For anyone that's just joining us, welcome to NRL, the inaugural day of the Ninja Racing League for Ninja Gaiden for the NES. A truly brutal game. We have 23 participants across 5 groups that are currently vying for a top 8 position for next Saturday in the single elimination tournament. We're going to see 1 versus 1 action moving on from there. And what they will be doing, we got Boobs Fries, Never Dies on the Retro Runner screen. How about it? But we're going to have the top 8 single elimination action for the tournament for next Saturday. I can't even keep this together.
Thanks, guys.
Oh
See
my
you
God.
I'm so pissed off.
We're gonna it'll be a best of 3 for those matches, and then for the finals and the 3rd place, we'll have the best of 5 for that. But here are your results, folks. This is what we've got. Retro Runner taking it home. SSR grabbing the 3 points there. So he'll be finishing with a total of 7, with Lick Arcade finishing up with a total of 8 in that one. So Lick will be taking 2nd position in Group B to SSR's 3rd position. And it looks like Blind Dusty will be taking 4th with 3 points to Vigo's 1. So Retro Runner confirmed. We'll be joining Edo in the top 8. Again, wild card hunt still open. 5 positions go to the winners of the groups that you see here tonight, and then the top highest point scoring folks will be the top 3 rather, will be moving on. And if we need to break ties, that's where the average time comes into the mix. So we'll get that stuff together for you guys. Keep it here, kick back and relax. We'll work on getting things set up. We're going to go to a break here momentarily, get the next crew ready to rock and roll. Group C, Massacre, Beerful of Belly, Christine, Fabricator General, Razul, and Deshana. A true group of killers at this one. Going to be a scary, very tight group across the board for this one. My prediction was BFOB taking this one, but Fabricator General earning his buy-in for the wild card. So watch for that potentially. But maybe Christine, who's been on a tear, got a PB, by the way, fresh one no less. When the seed came in, congratulations to her for that one. But very excited to see how this is going to happen here, folks. Keep it here. NRL Group C coming at you next. Okay, guys, welcome back. Group C action coming at you here. This one is going to be a tight one overall. We have the lowest average time across the board here. The group of killers, Massacre Group C. We've got Beer Full of Belly. We've got X Christine, Razul, Fabricator General, and Dashana coming in here. The 60 seconds warning has been put out by the Fabricator General in the race room. We're about to get started here, folks. Going to be a really exciting one. My pick for this one's going to be BFOB for pulling this one out. A lot of race experience, an OG, long-time runner of Ninja Gaiden. And I believe I'm joined in the booth once again by Mr. Seamless Link. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Hello. You are indeed stuck with me once again. It's going to be a super interesting group. I'll be extremely surprised if, regardless of winner, we don't get a wild card out of this one, as we have some very good runners, both in personal best, but also a lot of experienced racers, as BFOB, X Christine, Fab, and Raz are all very long time, very common Saturday night racers. And Dashana as well, a big, very common racer as well, but in Castlevania. So it'll be interesting to see. They're no slouches. They're no novices to racing. But it's, probably the most experienced race group that we have.
This right here is going to be the most difficult one to run with. By the way, the flag is going to be dropping here momentarily. 10 seconds on the count here, and we're going to be coming in. So watch for those delays as we go into this one, folks. We'll kick things off, and we'll go from there. And I'll pick your brain about what your thoughts are momentarily here, folks. Get ready. Here we go.
Yep, absolutely. We got the reset, all of on the mash, and we're off.
And it looks like BFOB and Christine all pretty even. Actually, not too bad here from a viewer standpoint. We're pretty even across the board here. Going to be very exciting. Razul taking the lower route, supposed to not taking the top route here, coming into stage one. Very exciting stuff here in Group C. Seamless Link, who you got? What's your pick? Tell me what you think for Group C.
I have to tell you, I think BFOB, very consistent, does very, very well in the race runs, but keep an eye on X Christine too. X Christine takes a couple of different strategies, some very safe things. You'll see her get the health in 5-1 most likely, and a lot of those little safety things that really keep her in the tournament, keep her running, and keep her healthy. She has a lot of those tricks in the tank.
Irma Gerd, X Christine, is going to do very well across the board here. I got to go with my boy Fab, not on the board here, for what it's worth, but he's got some serious consistency overall. I think, Link, you even said earlier that you made a bold claim that his lowest to best time is going to be 10 seconds apart. The consistency, the race experience overall should be pretty good. I think he's going to be vying more so for the wild card position here, but BFOB I think is going to just be able to run away with things overall, even amongst this group of killers. But it's hard to write anyone off. Anything can happen here. This is Ninja Gaiden.
Absolutely. And that's, when you look at the racers, BFOB is just pure octane and horsepower, moves quick, doesn't stick on walls long. And it's, the same story that we've had through the other groups is, can he play consistent? Can all of the racers stay consistent? And, again, as everybody's pretty similar going through Act 2, nothing crazy, no deaths. A lot of it comes down to who makes the first mistake.
Agreed. And speaking of 2-2, a very scary moment here and an early hurdle to overcome where deaths can be potentially costly, which we see, especially if you get one toward the end of a screen. But here's what we got. Everyone pretty much on even keel going through here from what we've seen. Watch for those climbs coming out of it. BFOB taking things nice and safe, pretty much across the board from what we're seeing. Christine getting a few climbs in there for herself. And we're on to the final screen of 2-2, the long haul to the door for Bomberhead.
Yep.
Those spin slashes in.
Yep. And one of the interesting things to see too is you can see Barefoot Belly, when he came up this screen, goes straight up the pillar instead of doing the flip flop. It's a cheeky little move that saves him about half a second. And you'll see a little of those things, those little differences in the route or some of those things that give Beerful a little bit more speed and gets him a little bit ahead coming into those bosses.
Agreed. Tiny optimizations like that they do add up. Even though this is a fairly short game and a short run, the smallest little bit that you can eke out wherever you can, it's the same thing. They will add up across the time. And again, Beerful, super consistent. You know, he's got a D boost named after him as well. And I say that, and he gets hit with a cottage cheese sword against that mummy. Unfortunately, getting kind of held back a bit, but doesn't seem like too bad versus what the group has here. But 3-2 lies ahead.
Exactly. One of the big things to notice too, especially, is a lot of the panic management. When you take a knockback you're not expecting, everything changes in the game. It's bad enough you're working off race strats where you don't know what the global timer is going to do. But if you take a knockback, you get set back a little bit. Now you have to try and figure out what you're going to do and analyze the situation in the spawns, because everything changes for you. B5 just did a great job of recovering.
Ooh, Deshauna taking a death after getting bullied there, having the cottage cheese sword happen, not being able to kill that enemy, getting bullied by the bird. Birds are jerks in every game. Here we come to the fateful cliff. Christine taking things super safe there. Deshauna getting bullied again by that bird. Razul getting across. Off-screen Fabricator General also into Massacre as well. So we've got a front running between it. Deshauna, unfortunately, having to fall back here into 5th position, but still pretty close across the board here for the front runners.
Yep, and one of the smart things Deshauna did is, you see, he took the low route to get the fire wheel. Cost him a few seconds to do that, but it's gonna be faster than having to go and try and fight Massacre on low percent strategies. We've seen some people try and do that, and it's tough. It doesn't always work out for them. But a smart move, a very good race strat by Deshauna to get that fire wheel to make this fight easier.
Agreed. So we got B-Fob here coming up, climbing up. Some nice climbs there. Getting the bird boost. Very nicely done. Christine not too far behind. Razul there as well. And here we go to the Murder Kill You 4-2 stage.
Yep, again, the fun stage with the fun music. Speaking of which, I apologize. We're a little low on audio. Let me go ahead and get that loaded in here. I'm trying to juggle some stuff. There we go. Now we can all sing along to the song as B-Fob is up on the bridge.
I don't think he's stopping for anyone.
No.
So here it is. And also, again, off screen, I'm going to call out there that Fab closing things out on 4-2 as well. So very much on pace, possibly in the lead. We'll have to see toward the end how the delays go and if there's any bumps on the road, as we see Deshauna coming into 4-2 as well.
Yep, and that's one of those little things too, is they're all coming in with Spin Slash, which is nice. And again, there's just certain sections of the game with Spin Slash, nice and easy. Without Spin Slash is terrible. And if you die somewhere, like at the start of 4-2 with the bat, it can make the rest of the thing a nightmare. Unfortunately, they've all been held and are going strong.
Okay, so we got Christine here about to go to the bullet boost. Razul right on her tail, and we have Beerful about to go into Kelberos, and Fab is right there as well. So if first and second position right now are pretty much close between B-Fob and Fabricator General, from what I can tell. Christine and Razul pretty close. Deshauna still fighting from the corner after taking those unfortunate death on 3-2. Missing the jump here as well.
Yeah, always tough. It's one of those jumps that seems like it might be routine, might be easy, but if you miss it, you just feel absolutely awful about yourself, and there's no muscle memory to get back on the platform. It always costs you in 4-3.
We're coming into 5-1. Beerful with some nice clean climbs up that side wall there, very crisp. Razul opting for a nice safety strat there with the star. Look at this, carrying it with him. Super cool.
Yep, again, definitely you can see the Razul race practice, race strategies, busting out the swag star in 5-1 to stay safe and consistent. And Christine opts not to get the health and goes for the traditional double bird boost.
Oh, not too bad. We have seen her before during some exhibition races go for the safe strat, throwing the star and grabbing that medicine along the way. It does not cost a whole heck of a lot of time for some added safety in the process. But coming into 5-2 and 5-3, it's a daunting climb up to Moth standing atop. And we'll see how things go.
Absolutely, and 5-2 especially is one of those things where, you know, there's a couple things you can take a hit and it costs you a couple seconds. There's a couple times in a couple places you can take a hit and it'll cost you a minute. It's always super, super scary in this area.
Okay, Fab G and BFOB both going up and over. Christine having some difficulties there with the bird, also going up and over. And it looks like Deshaun about to wrap up 5-1, up and over for Razul as well. And we're all going into 5-3. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely, and a lot they're hitting the bird boost on the end too. It seems like it's a nice easy trick, but you have to either land the right way or you have to hesitate or jump the right way, or the bird knocks you all the way back, and then you have to wait for it to clear to keep on going. So they make some of those really tough maneuvers in Ninja Gaiden look simple.
SP boost from Fab Gen and BFOB. As we get up here, X Christine trying to set up for it, gets it. Very nicely done.
Yep, as Raz coming up and well, and you can see the difference in the way that they do it. Some people double jump on the left, some people double jump on the right, and some people do what they call the Ohan SP boost, where you quick grab instead. 3 different ways to do the SP boost, all of them super valid.
So remember how we mentioned that this group is a bunch of killers here? Just how tight this has been, and the level of strats and consistency here that we're having across the board. I expect these times to be super tight out of the first race.
Absolutely. Everybody looks fresh. They look like they've had some practice. You wonder how long they've been practicing before the broadcast and how much they've been watching. You know, they look like there's a sweet spot for every runner, and how much warm-up is enough and how much is too much. And this is the group that really had a ton of time to warm up if they wanted it, or could sit back and get ready if they were that short warm-up kind of person.
Agreed, and that's something that I should actually bring up here, is that even though this is a short run, there is a level of physical endurance and toll that this game does take on you, especially with the mash and stuff. So if you're going to practice that bit, you could wear yourself down and burn out your mash in the process here, and that's something you're going to have to really lean on toward the end of it, oddly enough. So it's curious to see how we have things, but here we are in 6-2. Christine having some difficulty with the jetpack ninjas here. BFOB coming into that tall climb into Hell Hallway, where Fabricator General is also at right now off screen, having a really great run. So across the board, it's going to be BFOB and FabGen out in front with each other. Christine, ooh, that was a very scary moment there. What can happen is you can actually clip through the ladder and die when doing those climbs there, but able to catch herself and pull herself back up in the process, as we have BFOB and FabGen currently in 6-3. It's going to be a mad dash to the door to those three bosses that wait at the end of this one. We're going to see who comes out on top.
Absolutely, and you have to wonder, if you're ex-Christine, if you've done that once, I'm sure her heart skipped a beat. The question's going to be, does she risk those climbs going forward again, or is that enough as a scare to slow her down?
I think that the nerves are definitely real for pretty much all of these racers, if I had to guess. It doesn't matter how much experience that you have when it actually counts, and there's no hope of a reset to save you. I mean, stuff like that, small little mistakes will make you second guess about going for risky climbs like that between transitions.
Absolutely. It's always interesting too, is Beerful of Belly not doing the boost that is his namesake, taking the safe walk into the Demon's Lair.
And how about that? I can also confirm FabGen did make it to the door as well, and we'll be fading Jackio. It looks like BFOB possibly a little bit out in front, though, so Fab might be going for second position. We'll see how these fights treat him.
Absolutely. And again, BFOB safe left. I expect we'll see a little bit less flashy Jackio kills from all our racers. A lot of safe side, left side stuff.
A nice hunt, though, from Beerful, actually walking over and getting in those needed final kills as we come into the Demon here. FabGen wrapping up Jackio as well off screen.
Yeah, absolutely. As X-Christine and Raz go into it, while BFOB again playing safe, killing the tail, and I'm sure Fab as well and his race time prep said the same thing. He's going to stay safe and stay consistent.
Absolutely can. BFOB wrapping things up here. FabGen still killing the tail from what I'm seeing on this side. We'll see what the final times look out to be. X-Christine coming into the Demon alongside Razul. Look at this. Super tight across the board.
Yeah, wow. It looks like the official time for BFOB is 12:18. And it looks like Fab offline, the race admins coming in with a 12:23. So Fab second place right behind him, as we look to get Raz and X.
Okay, so BFOB with a 12:18, 12:23 for Fab. Raz with a 12:37. Now, X-Christine Unsure as of this time that the race time GG time for Christine is 12:30.
Seems like that could be a good fit. We'll get our race admins to figure it out while Deshaun is over here in Jackio and working to wrap things up.
Okay, we have our admins checking the tape.